All right, so this is what we are building out today. We've done two streams last week. I did one, and like happens some days when you code, it just wasn't quite working, so we didn't make that much progress. We really probably should have. But today, what we're going to do is just kind of try to get as much as we can done, and then we're going to call this one done. Really, I should have been able to probably get this done in 3, but sometimes you get them done fast, and sometimes you don't. So that's what we've done. Here's what we've got so far. I haven't really looked at anything we did last time, but I know we got stuck on this slider and a couple other things. So we're going to finalize some of the design for the mobile, and then we're going to move to desktop. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. And if you're just joining us, you don't necessarily have had to watch the first couple. It might help you to kind of know what we messed up on last time and how we might be able to fix it. But you're welcome to just jump in here with me on this third one. And what I'm going to do is just try to code like I normally would by myself. And usually I try to take some time Sunday afternoon and just code out some page just for practice. And so that's what I'm doing. I just figured I would do it live. Like I said, I'll probably give this a couple weeks till I do it again because I don't want it to be a full live streaming channel, but I do this all the time anyhow and figured it might be helpful. Okay, so what we're going to do is first of all work on kind of getting this fixed from last time. I don't remember everything that happened last time. I just remember that we had some struggle kind of getting, I think, this thing done. So I've gone ahead and just opened it with live server. Yeah, we had some kind of problem. So I know we need to fix that. We did work on this, although it looks like I need to add a cursor here. And I guess we never made it to where you could click off either. And then I don't think we've got anything on either of these. This also needs a cursor. But I think the rest of this should work. We need to maybe be able to increment this as well. So we'll see what we get done. But like I said, we're just going to do whatever we can. And then next time will be some other random project, probably in 2 weeks' time at least. All right, so let's first of all jump in. The easiest thing would be to fix these here as far as getting cursors. So we've got an SVG inside of a button probably. Yeah. And again, I haven't really looked at this since last time. I figured you should get the full experience of exactly, kind of how I'm seeing it. All right, so let's jump over here. I'm going to look for that mobile menu. Do I not have that? Open menu? No. All right, button. How about nav section? Nav section. All right, so I've got that right here, which means I don't think I ever really did anything with this at all. So the class is mobile menu. Yeah, and I don't see that. So let's go ahead and add that in here. In here, I'm going to go cursor of pointer. And in fact, what I could probably just do, I don't really need it for that. Let's just do it for all the buttons on the page. Let's see. Let's do that up top here. Fonts, utility classes. Maybe this is more of a clear. So let's set this up here. So button will be a pointer of cursor. Nope, cursor of pointer. I already messed that up. Pointer. Okay, there we go. And let's go ahead and close this off. This should now show as a button, and so should that. All right, cool. So let's next work on, when we click this, be able to click off here as well. And obviously we can shut it down already that way. So let's jump into the JavaScript. And let's see, that would have been slider container maybe. Nope. Let's move down. Buttons for each. Let's figure out what this is. This is nav panel. Nav panel. Oh, you know what? I have a nav.js. I forgot about that. Okay, so here we are. Now what I want to do, nav panel container is that background. Then all I need to do is actually do an event listener on this. So we'll do add event listener. We're listening for a click. And then let's just do it in a little arrow function here. What we're basically going to worry about is if the thing clicked is the actual nav container, then we want to close it because the only time you would click that is if it was already open. So we'll say if we need to pass in the event here. All right, so e.current target. If that equals the e.target, then let's see. If that equals that, let's just do that little and trick. So like a ternary here, then we're going to toggle the menu. Okay, so let's try that. Should be able to click off here and it closes. I should be able to click anywhere in here and it won't close. Okay, so we got those two things fixed. That was fast. All right, next thing is we had trouble with this last time, and I don't remember what the problem was other than I was having trouble getting it to work. My guess is it's not that difficult, but maybe I shouldn't say that until we actually get going in case I can't figure it out. All right, so let's kind of walk through what we had. So we've got this move slider function, handle button click. Let's get rid of that. We don't need a console log. So the buttons themselves are these, I'm guessing. So whenever I click a button, Then what I want is to handle the button click. That gets passed here, and I'm asking if it's next, then move slider next, otherwise move slider prev. Okay, so I've got a current index, and I want to basically move it this way no matter what. And since I don't think we set it up to loop, yeah, we just have it moving like that with no sliding or anything. Actually, I think I see the problem we had last time. A lot of times you come back to something, you're beating your head against a wall, and if you just take 2 seconds, you're going to realize like, oh, well, that was the problem. So I think, well, again, maybe let's wait until I figure this out. So I think what's happening is I always need to move it negatively, and the only thing I need to worry about is this current index. So let's first of all see if this works. So I should be able to go here and then back, and no more because there's nothing else that way. Should be able to come back. Okay, so that was the problem. Well, that was easy. Tell last week's self that. All right, so let's do this. Let's ask if it's worth next, and if it's next, then we're going to increment it. Otherwise, we will decrement it like this. All right, so this is just a ternary. I'm asking a question, like a little if statement right here. Here's what's going to happen if it's true, and here's what's going to happen if it's false. All right, cool. All right, color variables. Federico, thanks. Okay, yeah, I actually just did a video on my channel of 10 extensions I use. That one is called Color Highlight. Yep, right here, and it will highlight anything, the color of the thing that you do. So you can see right here, like right here, that's what it's doing. I saw Wes Boss use it, and I really liked it, and so I was on the search for it and found it. All right, so we got that set. Let's come back here. The other thing I want to do is make this thing disappear, and I think we had a problem with the hidden class. I was trying to add this class of hidden, and nothing was happening. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see, this has, let's refresh. I thought I added it to start with. Let's check. So I'm going to come back over here, and we're looking for the button. What was that thing called? Let's just look for prev. Okay, here, I wanted to add the class of hidden, and it wasn't working, I think. Okay, so the first thing I should have done is basically see if it's being overwritten, because it is there. Okay. See, that wasn't difficult. So it's being overwritten by this this other class just because they share the same exact weight in the cascading styles. And my guess is I did the hidden class first. Let's see. Let's look for it. Hidden. Yep. And then I did the button class next. Okay. So that's the problem. So that's the only thing. So why don't we just do this? Let's just say when button has hidden, then it's display of hidden. All right, like that. So that'll work. All right. So let's come back here and double check that that works. Did it work? Right here, button and hidden, display of hidden. Okay, display of none. Display of none. All right, cool. So that's working. And now I should be able to just come here and it disappears. Okay, so that was our whole problem last time. We fixed that. We fixed this. Let's see. We've got a couple other things. Let's come back here. I don't remember. So there is no footer. So let's just delete the footer. I think that just came in with the project itself. That was all this section. I don't need this at all. Let's get rid of that. Okay, cool. So why don't we've got a couple things left. Hey, you're welcome, Federico. We've got these buttons to increment this number here. And then we've got a cart to worry about. This thing doesn't go anywhere so far as I can tell. At least they've got no designs for it. But the rest of this is working. This I copied over oddly just to, I don't remember what I was doing. Cart is empty. Okay, so that's what it should look like to start with. If we click it and then eventually add stuff to it. Check out, at this point it wouldn't go anywhere and then we delete it there. So at the very most, I think we would get the mobile done here because there's enough complexity here. Why don't we worry just about incrementing and decrementing this for now? I think that makes sense to me. If you have something that you prefer I work on or whatever, like we haven't touched desktop yet, which again, I feel like we should have gotten to by now, but that's okay. Like I said, I should have probably stepped away last time a little quicker because as you can see, that didn't take that long to fix when we came at it fresh. All right, so we've got that set up. Let's work on these buttons. And I don't remember anything about these, how we set them up. I'm assuming I put them in buttons. They've got ARIA labels. Okay, ID, amount, crease. They both have amount as a class. So we can use that. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got the slider, the nav. What should we call this? Because we're going to have something similar to this in the actual cart. Maybe what I should do is, instead of using amount decrease and amount increase, the amount decrease and amount increase should have the same class, because I'd want them to both update. All right, so what I'm thinking here is, oh, I thought there was buttons in here. Well, we do want this little 3x to show, but that's not the same thing. Okay, forget everything I just said, and let's jump in with this amount class here. And let's go ahead and, just for the sake of doing this, I think, oh yeah, we were going to set up this whole import thing. Let's just say check. Let's see. Maybe we could say something like, yeah, how about checkout? Or how about cart.js? I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is not production. Obviously, we're just kind of building this thing out as quick as we can. All right, so I'm going to say const amount buttons equals document.query selector. We're going to grab those there, the amount classes. So I've got both of those, and now I want to do is, one of them has amount decrease and one of them has amount increase. And then what's this middle thing? Span of QTY. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that too. So this also needs to be all. And if you have questions or things you want to do, like I said, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know where you're watching from too on this nice Sunday afternoon. I was going to get some music up and running, but I forgot about it till I went live. And so I don't know if you like music when people are coding, but if you do, well, I guess this is not your stream for now. Maybe next time. Okay, so I've got those set. Let's go ahead and say amount buttons.add, or for each, because we got to loop through those. For each button, we're going to say button.add event listener. We're listening for a click. Whenever that happens, we're going to pass it handle amount button click. And, you know, I could probably do these in utility functions here. That's probably what I would do after I kind of refactored all this, is I would grab, let's see, this slider and the whole handle button click. I would probably do the same thing and have a utility function that I passed all this stuff to, but I don't want to overcomplicate stuff. Let's just worry on kind of each thing at a time, and then I would refactor that later into something a little bit more efficient. Okay, so we've got handle button click as our function. We're going to pass it the event itself. So the thing, when the browser runs this, it's going to pass the event along. And then what we're wondering is basically if it contains increase or decrease. So let's do this. Let's just say e dot, I guess it would be current target. That's the thing that it was set against, the button itself. If it's the ID equals, what was that? Amount decrease. Is that right? Let's just check this. Console.log. Let's grab here, click here. Oh, we never did anything. It should be true or false, right? Handle button click for each amount buttons. These things click. Oh, I never hooked this up. All right, so let's come back up here. We got the nav, and now we've got the cart. Let's try again. Click, true, true, false, false. Okay, so we got that working. I think last time too I had a filter once, and it took me forever last week to figure out that I had a filter on it. So you have days like that, and that's fine. I mean, at least you're not doing it publicly, right? Okay, so we've got both of those. If that happens, then let's have it pass. So let's check this. Yeah. Now let's do a ternary like we did before. So let's have an amount here. So const or let amount equals 0 to start with. And then we're going to say if that equals increase, then we're going to say, you know, we're going to need a more complex statement here, I think. So if that equals decrease, then we're going backwards. Then we're going to say if amount equals 0, then null. So we just won't do anything. Otherwise, and this doesn't need to be and anymore. Otherwise, amount should be decremented like that, I think. Else, we're going to do the same thing. And here, we're just always going to increment. Unless we have like, we'd be checking against maybe inventory or something like that and making sure that we had enough. And then what I'm going to do is at the end of this, we're going to say qty dot text content equals, is that how that was set up? Qty, is there span? Oh, that is the span. Okay, so text content equals amount. Let's try it. So that should stay at 0. It throws an error. Text content of null. Qty was at an ID, I think. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, cool. All right, so that works. And then let's go ahead and use, we'll just keep all this cart stuff in the same, all the cart logic in the same thing. So we've got that working. So I think the last thing we've got is this little cart, which is cool. So let's come back over this way and let's do cart is empty first. And it looks like that's about the same height. This isn't really laid out super well, unless I pulled in the image wrong. I don't think I did. Yeah, because there's a little too much space here. So I think that means we can do whatever we want. So let's do that. So let's go ahead and pull in this cart. See, it looks like it has the same radius as what we've already been using. And we just want it to look like this. And for right now, see, I probably from a UX UI perspective would expect that I can toggle it on and off here, but also that once it's open, I could click off of it. So I think we need something very similar to what we did with the sidebar. So maybe let's just copy the sidebar. I had a panel in here somewhere, panel container. Let's see, that went all the way down here. So let's grab all of this and let's just do another one outside of the nav maybe. And we're gonna have to change up a bunch of this. So let's just take all of this in here. Okay, so all I'm doing is basically clearing out this. We're gonna call this cart. And then down here, we'll call this cart. All right, so this is the cart container and the cart itself. And the cart is what we're gonna style to look like that. And let's see the different states we've got. So we've sometimes got a button. So this stuff will change depending on what we've got. And then this cart thing will always be there. So we've got 2 sections. All right, I forgot which direction I was at. So we'll say padding here, or paragraph here of cart. And let's see, there we go. And the other section, why don't we call this like cart content? And inside here for now, what did that say? Your cart is empty. All right, so we'll say your cart is empty. And actually, I probably want to populate this with JavaScript, but just so we can style it, let's leave it like that for now. And we'll give this a class of, well, we'll just select all paragraphs inside of that. Maybe let's call this cart header. And we'll call this cart body. These should probably also, will you disable the button if quantity is negative? Yeah, I guess we could add maybe a disabled class. That's a good idea. So maybe let's do that. If you think of any other ideas, let me know. I like that. Cart body, and let's set both of these to double underscore. Okay, your cart is empty. Let's go ahead and style this. And maybe what we should do is come over here too and say, we'll do what you just said there. So if it's equals 0, then let's see, I guess we'd want the e.current target. You know what we need to do? At the end of this, let's say this. So we'll say if amount equals 0, then we want, actually, this can be another ternary. All right, so if it equals 0, then let's say that qty, nope, what was it? E.current target. Because I would never get to 0 from hitting the plus button. It would only ever be afterwards. So let's do this. Let's say e.target current target dot class list dot add. Let's call it disabled. And then let's just remove it every time if not, and that way we're always making sure that we've taken it off too. So remove disabled. So let's do that. So it should check, but that's only going to check after I click. So maybe I should start with it being disabled to start with. So let's first of all add a QTY. We got that somewhere. QTY amount increase amount. Let's go back up. Okay, here we go. So let's say amount dot disabled. And for that one, we'll say cursor of disabled. Isn't there like a none or no? None. There we go. Let's see, does that work? Oh, I never put it on. Disabled. So let's go ahead and add that to start with on the amount. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but I just want to add this quickly here. Button, increase, grid, amount. How about like that? So now, oh, it just shows none. I don't want that. What's that thing called? Disabled cursor. Cursor property. Cursor alias, oh my. Alias, no scroll, alt. If you remember what that's called, let me know. No drop. None, no cursors allowed. Item can't be dropped here. Zoom in, zoom out. Not allowed. I think that's it. Okay, so let's do that. Not allowed. Come back over here. Hey, that's good. Okay, so it's disabled, and we should probably also, I think if it's disabled that way, you can still toggle to it. So I think if there's an actual attribute, it's been a while since I've done that. I think it's just disabled, right? Yeah, like that. And now we'll even let you, no, I won't even let you tab to it. Okay, cool. So let's do that. It does mean that back in our cart here, we're going to have to make this a little more complex. We're going to have to do two things. So if it equals 0, then let's do this. We want to add disabled as far as a class. And then let's do this. Why are we adding classes? Just use the attribute. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to add, so e.target.set attribute, right? Set attribute, isn't that a thing? Set attribute. Element.set attribute. Yeah, it just wasn't giving me that. Set attribute. And we're going to set disabled to true. I think that should work. And then otherwise, I will say e.currentTarget.remove attribute. Yeah. Remove attribute. And I'm going to remove disabled. And then what I can do is come back into my CSS and amount. Here we go. We're going to say amount with the attribute of disabled. We'll have that on it. Okay, let's see if that works. So that works. If I come here, it's not removing it. Oh, I can't see on my other screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and click this. Let's see, I've got disabled on it right now. And now if I click here, it doesn't remove it. And that's what I want. So I guess I need to remove it every time. Right? e.currentTarget. So let's not put it on and see if I can get it to show. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong here. So disabled, don't need that. Okay, so let's come here. It should be working. It is. Good. Come here. It's still working. Come here. Now it's disabled. Okay, so I did add it. Let's remove it. Okay, so it's not removing. All right, so we've got adding. That's good. e.currentTarget.remove attribute disabled. How does this work? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. You just give it the name, right? So let's see it work. Remove attribute align. I'm not sure why that's not working. So if it equals 0, I want to set disabled to true. Otherwise, I want to take e.target.remove attribute and I want to remove disabled. See what I'm doing wrong there? I don't. All right, well, rather than play with that, let's go ahead and just add this as a to-do. Figure out removing disabled. All right, and let's keep moving. All right, let's go back to this cart. We were going to style that. Good idea, though, to add that. I like that. That's a good little UX UI thing. Very top, I think, is where we had that cart container. So let's grab this cart, cart container, cart header, and cart body. Those probably should be more consistently named, but for right now, let's just come down here and do this. So cart container, position of fixed, inset 0, so it covers everything. And then let's go ahead and add a background color. What did we do for the other one? Panel container, let's just grab all this and drop it in here. We don't need that again. And I think this was even less. It's supposed to be at least. And let's comment that out for now. Okay, so it's right over the top of everything. But that way we'll know when it's opened. And then, let's see, let's go ahead and add for the cart. I think I was using utility classes here for like grid, if I remember correctly. So let's go ahead and just add that here. And do I need a gap? Not really, because it's just this line. So let's just do padding around here, no gap at all. So that's good. Your cart is empty. It's supposed to say cart, capitalized probably. Yeah. And then I think we had font bold, and that looks around the right size. And it looks like the padding is the same as I have on the side, which I can't get to for some reason now. Slide container around the main. What did I have here? Nothing too much. Nothing at all. Was it here that I had the padding? Margin. Where's my padding? I know I had padding around the nav, so let's look there. Padding around the nav, maybe? Yep, sizer 1. Okay, cool. So let's grab that. And let's come back to our CSS. I'm going to add that around the nav, and that looks right. And then I need the background color to be var of light. White. What was my var? It's the only thing background. The only thing I don't like about doing these once a week and trying to kind of keep it realistic and not looking at it in between is I don't remember what I did, and then you spend half the time watching me look around and try to find it. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Let's put a padding. See, will that work? I think so. Padding of, let's do a calc here. Take our var of sizer 1, and let's calc it times 0.5 because it looks like about that much. And then we want a border. Let's see, a radius here. I think I had a class of rounded. If I think, yeah, right there. Okay, so class of rounded on that. Over this way on the cart, like that. Okay, so that looks about right. And then I just need more. I had padding on this whole thing. Is that right? So let's do the same sizer 1 as a padding or margin down on that cart, which is the cart header right here. Let's grab that. Let's go back to our cart. All right, so cart header, I want margin bottom here of var sizer 1. And then we also want a border bottom. Did that go all the way across? It did. So let's change this. Remove the padding here. Let's just put padding here. Border bottom of 1 pixel solid var of, sure, that'll work. Does that look about right? So let's split this so we can keep these in front of us. Let's do background 1 instead of background 2. Does that look right? Maybe. Let's do a larger one just to see if it changed colors at all, because that almost didn't look like it changed. Background 2. Yeah, there we go. It looks like it's about 1 pixel. Yeah, it's real thin. Okay, so we've got that set up. Let's just worry about the middle section. Now, I'm trying to think exactly how I want to do this. Probably with a min height for now. And let's set this thing to view 100%. And then I'm going to try to just inspect this. 318, something like that. So what I can do is maybe have some empty divs here for now, because this is going to have 2 sections and they're all grid spaced out. The spacing isn't consistent, because down here this should be the same as here and here, I would think, since these two look the same. But I've just got one thing here, so I could have 3 things with padding. Maybe let's just do that. It doesn't have to be picture perfect when you're adding stuff, I don't think. So I think that's what I'm going to do. This needs a font bold, and then I need a different color on that as well. Didn't I have some utility classes for that? Yeah, background color, accent. Okay, so I'm just going to want the alt background 2 color class on that. So let's find that right here. And let's do that on, I guess let's just do it here. Like that. Maybe not 1. And then font bold. And then let's set a grid on this thing and a gap of maybe 3. And then let's add some extra divs in here. And I'm going to replace all this with JavaScript in a second. All right, cool. And then I need to place item center, and I also need padding on this cart body. And then I think we're going to call that done. Okay, so we're going to say padding. Let's just grab the same thing right here. And then place items. Nope. Got to be inside that. Place items center. Okay, cool. We're going to call that good. And the only thing is I need to push this off the top, because it should be below all that. So, see, I don't know if so it does look like the heading size changes. The nav bar size changes depending on whether you're on mobile or desktop. But it looks like over here, it's about the same either way. So, let's do this. Let's just say, let's just push it off the top. And right now, I'm just going to kind of pick an arbitrary value. So cart, we're going to say, let's see, we're going to need a position of relative to do that. And we'll do top of our spacer sizer 5. Is that enough? And if not, we'll just calculate it some. So it needs to be a little bit more than that. So let's do this. Calc var spacer 5 plus var sizer 3, 2, 1. I mean, where's my mobile? Over here. That looks good to me, right? Just off the side there. Okay, we're going to call that good. The only thing we need to do now, is worry about kind of opening and closing that. And we lost our cart button somehow. How did I lose our cart button? Okay, let's close this down, jump back over this way, and let's go ahead and just comment this out right here. Where's my cart? Why you gotta be like that? Cart is down there. Did I pull that up somewhere? Let's look for it. Cart, where'd you go? Oh, I had a class of cart on here. Well, that'll throw you off. So let's change this to like cart button. How about that? And then we're going to call this cart button 2. Jump back over here, cart. Do we have any other ones earlier? No, we didn't. Okay, so that'll work. All right, so we've got that set. Now what I want to do is use this cart button. And so let's grab that over here. So we're going to say, actually, let's grab both of those. Cart button, like that. And then when we click it, we want to do stuff. So we'll say cart button dot add event listener. We're listening for a click. And when that happens, we're going to handle cart. Let's see, why don't we just toggle cart? I think, right? Yeah, let's do that. Toggle cart. So let's write this function up here. So function toggle cart, it's going to take in an E here, the event itself. So what we want is to actually grab all the rest of this stuff. So let's come back up here to the cart, nav panel. Okay, here we go. So let's comment this back out. And what we should do is probably have, this is probably what we should have done before, have a disabled, already disabled equals true as well. And cart container, we also had an expanded class on that too. So let's just use that instead. And this does need an ID, and we'll pass this cart panel, something like that. Now we might want to slide this in or do other random things, but for now we're just going to leave it, I think, like that. Where is our, let's look at this. Let's comment this back out. I just want to mirror what we did before. So this right here, oops, this thing, RE expanded false, ID, and then it pointed to, I think we had a point to here. So we never had anything referencing it. Okay, well, that's fine. Either way, let's use this RE expanded false and use that class to basically, oops, can we toggle that on? Let's see. All right, I haven't really been talking sentences, so let me do that for a second and tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to grab this cart right here and basically decide how the styling should work based off of that. So let's come over here to my cart container. We're going to say for now, this needs to be like this. So, and maybe let's do this. Let's translate it Y and have it come up from the top. Although if there's no transition, I guess it doesn't matter either way. But cart container, once it has, let's say this is disabled, and then let's just do cart container like this and bring up all the rest of this here. And then if it has that disabled attribute, we'll do it like that. So it's disabled to start with. So let's come back over here. We'll add that disabled. Nav panel container. That's the wrong thing. Where's my cart? Right here. So disabled. I think that should work. And then let's come back to our cart and say if e.current target. So we've got expanded. So let's toggle that expanded button or attribute. So e.current target dot set attribute RE expanded to the opposite of whatever it was, but in this case we're going to say to false. So we'll say e.target.get attribute RE expanded, and that should give us back, let me comment this out, it should give us that's a truthy statement or a false statement depending on what it is. So console.log, and let's just click it and see what happens. So open up the console here, click, it says false because it's false right now because it's set to false. So then what we can do is run a ternary off the back of that. And if it is false, then we should be able to set it to true. Otherwise, let's copy this down to make it a little clearer. We want to set it to false. So that should basically toggle that, if I can see that over here. Right here, we're looking to see if this changes, are you true or false? So it's false right now. Now it's true. Now it's not false. Okay. So I guess I'm just checking if there is one. So maybe I need to check if it equals false. Let's try that now. Yeah, okay. So there we go. So we've got that toggled. Now what I want to do is say down here after the ternary, e.current target. So we're going to check the same thing. And there's probably a better way to do that than typing it twice here. But okay, so if that equals false, then I want to grab this thing right here. So cart panel. So let's do that too. Grab both of those. Then I want And again, this is a little ternary, like a little if statement. I'm going to say cart panel dot set attribute of disabled to, so it's false. It's now closed. So I want to set this to true. I mean, I could set it to anything because I just need a disabled attribute on there. Otherwise, I want to remove the attribute disabled. Which this is actually the thing we had trouble with a second ago. So let's try it. Remove. Okay, it's not removing. Oh, the other thing is I now need this thing to always be on top. So let's make sure that happens. So let's set the z index below the nav because it's always going to be below the nav anyhow. So set this to 5. Nope, I think it needs to be less than that. I think that nav was 5. Nope. What was my nav? Let's check. Nav, nothing. Just hanging out there. Z-index panel container. Oh, that's the sidebar. Okay, so let's change this. Let's add a z-index here of, let's see, I'm going to need some kind of position on this to add a z-index. Relative z-index. Let's set this to 5. I usually try to do multiples of 5. And then I can come down to the cart container and set this z-index to 4. So I'd probably do 5, 15, something like that. Now this should be above still, right? Flex nav section, nav. Let's do 50. Okay, so something's going on with this. I know this is over the top of it. Still shouldn't be over that. I guess it's just the order of it. So there's, oh, it's got padding too. So I think I'm messing up the stacking context. If you see what I'm doing here, you can let me know too. But for now, I think the easiest fix will just be to move this all below the nav anyhow. And let's find the closing nav tag. Okay, so let's just set it right here. Now if I open this, no? Oh yeah, it is visible. It's just covering it. Maybe I need to set something other than just the outside nav. Nav panel container. Nav sections. The nav itself is over it. Maybe if this is fixed, would that change it? No. Well, I mean, plus it's going to pull it fully out of the flow of the dock. All right, well, for now, it's opening and closing. That's what we need. All right, so last little bit here. Let's go ahead and work on the cart actually working properly. I think what I want to do is we're going to have a couple different states for it. And since we're just using vanilla JavaScript here, I think probably the easiest thing to do, oh, sorry about that. We need to add a little button here to the nav. And it doesn't actually have a background. So why are we worrying about that? Let's just come down here and get rid of this. And that way, if I click down here, all these would take me somewhere. This opens that over the top of it. That works. So let's also make it where you can close clicking off for now. So let's do that first. And then we're going to come back and add what I was talking about with kind of the state of the whole thing. Okay, so toggle cart. Let's also do this. We will say, what do we call that thing? Cart panel. So let's add an event listener for that as well. Let's, I guess, keep these things spaced out. Add event listener. We're listening for a click. And what we're going to say is if e.currentTarget equals e.target, then go ahead and run toggle cart. And here we need to actually run it, not just pass it to the browser. And it should work the same as below. So I click here. I click anywhere down here. Nope. Reading of current target. e.currentTarget. Cart panel. Can I not find cart panel? Oh, it's looking at that. Okay. So this is one of the ways that you can mess up a lot in functional programming, which I tend to struggle with, is just you want to make every single function do one single thing and nothing more than that. I forget what that's called, like true function, simple function, I think maybe. Toggle cart panel. So what we need to do is basically say we only want this to check whether or not we should be expanding this. And then here, no, I mean, that should still work. Already expanded. Okay, so because there's two things I need to worry about: the ARIA expanded and the attribute. So maybe rather than passing in the E here, the event, we could just grab the button itself, and then we don't have to worry about any of this. So let's do that. So let's grab the cart button. So we're going to say cart button, cart button dot get attribute, and then that way it's not dependent on what we click on. And if that's equal to false, then we're going to grab here and here and here. Wrong button again. Cart button. And then all the rest of that should work no matter what. So let's try that. Nope. Cannot reproduce reading of get attribute. Cart button dot get. Okay, let's try again. So that should close. Now this should close. Okay, so now that works. And it's not dependent on what we click on. Okay, so we've got those two set. Now we just need to take whatever number this is, and we also need to be able to toggle the button based off of clicking this down here, or the cart based off clicking this too. So let's grab that checkout button, which is called something. Add to cart, checkout button. So let's also grab this up here. And now we can use it here as well. So we'll grab both of those, checkout button like that. And I think that was an ID. Checkout button. Let's check. Checkout button. Just the ID of checkout. Okay, so let's grab that. Checkout button here is going to be equal to the ID of checkout. And we'll do the same thing. So we'll say, I guess all we're doing is this, right? So checkout button. This should also now toggle on, and it does. Now the other thing is, now that we're down here, are we always wanting this thing to be at the top? So it doesn't really tell us because it's showing the full screen no matter what. I think it makes sense that we should keep that at the top. So let's just set that whole nav thing to fixed anyhow, which means we're going to have to make some adjustments to it, the way it's laid out. So we'll say display, or let's see, position fixed down here. So fixed. And then, see, do we ever set a background color on it? I don't think so. So now we're going to have to say background color. And we're going to have to set that to our var of background. And then we'll set the width to 100%. And now it should stay there even if we scroll down. Oh man, now our buttons are over the top of that. So we got to worry about stacking context here too. All right, so let's open this up and just see if that works. Okay, cool, it does. So if we are opened here, let's pull this up, and I'm down here, and now I click it. It should do the same thing. And that works. Okay. I think I want a little shadow around that because it's kind of hard to see against the white. Oh, and they've got one, I think. Hey, thanks, people. Box shadow. Let's grab this. Same thing on the checkout button. Let's set it on the cart, which was this thing. Now, I probably don't want it to be orange. So let's change that to one of our colors. Do we have anything that was semi-transparent? Text opacity. That's a weird one I set up, or let's use it. Text opacity, checkout button, cart, text opacity. I mean, not the worst thing I've ever seen. It probably could be better. Let's just do this. Let's check our text opacity again here. I'm just going to grab this. It's the only time we're going to use it on the site. So let's not make this overcomplicated. We'll just get rid of that. Set this to like 3.5. There we go. Maybe 2.5. All right, so we open it here. We click off. We open here. We click off. right, so now we just need to populate the cart every time something has changed. And probably the quickest thing to do would be, what we could do is populate whenever we click here. We're also updating this thing because it's in the DOM already. So we could do that. And that way, if we come up here, we can also delete it, was the other thing we need to do, I think. Or checkout, which at this point would go nowhere. So let's see. And we also need to worry about this thing being over the top of the checkout. So z-index 5 for that button. So let's go back up to here. Let's set this to like z-index 6 again and go to our nav and set this to z-index 8. I really prefer to do those in multiples of 5, but I don't want to have to go back and worry about all those. Okay, so now it's on top of it. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's think through kind of the best situation. I think if I click here, I want the cart to update so that when I open it, there's no kind of awkwardness of it loading all the data at that point. So let's go ahead and do that. I think the best thing to do though would be, let's go ahead and style what the cart should look like fully finished. And then we can worry about the state I was talking about. And I think we're going to just store the state in an object in our JavaScript file. And then we're going to call this done for now. Okay, so let's come back over here. This is what it needs to look like. So a little mini image of the first image available. And then we're going to set it to whatever the price is times however many they have, and then give the total here with a little trash can on the side. So these will be spans, I think. And should we have it times 1? I guess. It's not going to hurt anything. So Autumn Limited Edition. Also, it stops cutting out after that. Is that different on a large screen? I mean, we're not really doing the large screen because this has taken too long already, but let's just see. Okay, so they do cut it off after so many characters. We can worry about that. That's fine. Okay, so let's get that set out. So we've got 2 divs, a checkout button, and that, and this has no shadow or anything. But let's go ahead and take our checkout. Check out. Let's do ID of checkout because there's only one of those. Okay, here we go. So this checkout button right here, let's add that in up top. And tell you what, let's do this. Let's comment this out. We're going to need that in a second. And let's also take off the disabled. Okay, so it's right there, which that's good. We're going to need to set a max width on this thing too, because it looks like it's the same on desktop, even though we're not doing that. So let's set the max width at whatever that is. So if we go small here, and we go to 375, which I think is what the first design size is, more or less. Okay, let's see what this is. 356, basically. Okay, so 356 will be the biggest width that that cart can take. Let's come back here to the cart then. And let's set a max width of 356 pixels. And that way, even if I get larger, see, it should stay fixed to the right though. So, let's see, where was that? Padding is right here, okay? So let's take this right here and fix this to the right. So it's top, and then right would be the same as, no? Oh, you know what? Let's do that. And then just put this padding. Let's do top there. Let's just leave it like that and then say padding right is nothing. No? That seems like it should be right. Okay, so what am I doing wrong here? I always want this to be 2 over. Let's get rid of this padding altogether. Whoa, now it doesn't know what to do. See, left, maybe let's just do this. Left, can I use auto like this? I don't think so, no. This is position relative to this container. See, I do want padding around it. Let's take this right thing off for now. And right now it's just naturally off to the left. So if I say left I don't want it to be initial. What do I have that be? Just auto, I think, maybe. Right is there. Let's set this to like 0.5 rem. Get rid of this. Position relative. Why am I not getting that thing to move over? If you see what I'm doing, let me know. This shouldn't be that complicated. The other thing I can do is I can set this to display of grid, or how about this, display flex, and then justify content end, and it's over there. Now it's stacking up weirdly, and then align items start. So that's something. I mean, that would technically work too. Just get rid of this, get rid of this. Okay, so that works, and then I just need to set the cart to 100% width. So width 100%. There should be a way to do that relative positioning, but I'm not figuring that out, which shouldn't be that hard. The header then also needs to be text center, text align center, because I changed how it worked. Was it? I thought it was. That doesn't look right now. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Yep, it's supposed to be like that. Okay, so if you've got that button in the middle, I do need to change the styling on that. Let's get the other things in there though. So we're gonna change this from checkout. This actually, I'm guessing this would take you to a different page. Accent pale is fine. Flex, I mean, it doesn't need any of that because it's not gonna have anything in there. It just says checkout, right? Yeah. So let's get rid of this SVG. And font size 2. And bold can go up there. And this add to cart can go right in the middle. Right? Okay. And then we also need to set a padding on this and everything else. So let's set this to cart body button. And we can grab that and play around with it. Okay, so let's come back down here, add that. We'll say padding of our sizer 1. And then let's say width of 100%. And it's got these divs on the side right now, so we're going to get rid of those. So that looks good enough for me. And since it's a button, it should also have everything set up for it too. So I think that works as far as like a cursor and all that kind of stuff. Now, we haven't really worried about navigating with the keyboard, but we would also need to worry about that eventually as well, probably as you kind of refactor this. All right, let's go ahead and get the content of the card set then as well. Let's just take this div we've got and this div we've got, and let's comment these out with that paragraph because we're going to use those in a second. So here we're going to call this cart body content or something. And we've got an image, not import, an image here. And this will be our images. And I think it's thumbnail 1. Shows. The width here is going to need to be pretty small, but we can set that later. So let's say cart class cart image. These are named horribly, but that's okay. We'll worry about that in a second. This also needs a rounded. I'm pretty sure has the same rounding on it, or maybe a small rounding. So we'll set that in the CSS custom for it. Next, we've got this section here that needs to be probably a grid. So let's do that. So we'll say display C. Let's do just a grid like that. And then we'll do place, see, gap 1. And we'll give it its title here. And this will be class of alt background 1. And it says autumn limited edition. See, that says fall and the other says autumn. So that's going to throw us off. Fall limited edition sneakers. Okay. Fall limited edition sneakers. And they're all capitalized. Cool. Limited edition sneakers. Okay, so we've got those, and then right below that, we'll have another class. Let's see, this could actually go here because I think they're both that color. I guess we can just change this one when we need to. And we'll set this as, let's see, this itself needs to be a flexed item. Flex, and we're going to say product name or price flex, and this can be product amount, product name, I mean. Okay, so product price, product, let's call this product amount. All right, and this has several things in it. It's going to have 125 and then the times 3 and then the 75. So let's set those all as separate, I guess, spans in here. So we'll do 125. Now you probably want to be able to update each of these separately, but since we only have the one product, I'm not going to worry about that for now. And in here, let's see, you can just do times like that, and it gives you a little X. So let's do that. You probably need to set some ARIA attribute on that or something like that. And then this would be the amount here. So let's call this 3 for now. And then the total. So span, and then we'll call this total. And then this would be 375. Is that what it said? Yeah, 375. Okay, 125.00. So that'll always stay the same no matter what. We need to update this as well. So we'll call this amount. I guess we already have an amount. Oh, you know what? Those are the classes. So this is poorly named. I'd come back and probably refactor this, but again, I think you can come back to those things whenever, as long as you know you need to fix them. This is going to have a class of text. Nope, amount. What is that thing called? Background? Alt background? Background something? What's that class? Our color here, text. I thought it was text. Did I not try text? And then font bold. Okay, so we've got that. And then finally, over here, we've got the trash can. So we're going to have to worry about that. Trash can should be, let's see, after this div. This will be its own little SVG. And it should be over here somewhere. Images, trash, delete. So let's do this. And this should be a button, just so you can tab to it and everything else. So we'll say button dot, or let's give an ID of trash. And then inside this trash, let's set that. Because it doesn't have any text, we also need an ARIA labeled. And let's call this delete product from cart. How about remove? Remove product from cart. And we can probably, if we were going to dynamically add this for different items, we would interpolate whatever this is in JavaScript and actually pass in the exact name of the product. But for now, let's call that good. All right, so let's come back over here to the CSS. And the only thing we have left is to style this and then just make sure we get everything to update when we open that. So we got ID of trash. Excellent. Cart image, cart body content. This is what we want. All the way at the bottom, cart body button, cart body content here. And let's see. That holds 3 things. These all need to be flex. And then gap of 1. And that should separate them out as they need to be. Oops, did I just mess that up? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so the cart image is the next thing let's worry about. Let's make that smaller. And we haven't actually done anything. I think we might need another class there. So I'm going to leave that there for now. Probably going to have to align items center at the very least. So we're going to say width here of our spacer sizer 5-ish. And same thing on the height. And then object fit, just in case we need it, of cover. I don't think it's stretched out there. That looks about right. Border radius 15 pixels. Way too much. 5 pixels. Let's set this to like 4 for both of these. Oh, that makes it smaller. I forgot. So maybe let's do this. Let's grab both those with Command D and calc that times 1.2. Make it just slightly bigger. I would probably need to check exactly the sizes on this. It looks like it's just a little bit bigger than that. And that looks about right. I'm not going to worry about it too much. So we've got those. This is the next section. We only ever want this to take up a single line, but then I also want these to be aligned to center. So like I said, we're going to need a line item center here, and then it's kind of already spacing between, but just in case it needs to, space between. That sets those apart. Now let's cut this off. After, that's the desktop one. Is it just a certain size probably? Where are we at? Okay, sorry about that. So it should be after addition, basically. I'm trying to remember exactly how to do that. Let's grab this. Slider, size right here. Okay. Product name. We're going to come in here and say max width of, let's see, 3, 4, maybe like 20 characters. Let's do this. Text ellipses CSS. I just don't exactly remember text overflow. Ellipses. Okay. So let's add that. And then I don't want overflow, and I want the overflow to be hidden. Let's come back here. Okay. So that's already cutting it off. Maybe we just leave it at that. We don't have to set a max width on it. Although it is, I think it is helping a little bit. Set this more like 15, 16, 17. Let's do that. And then let's set the actual content here to width 100%. So it'll fill its full size. And maybe these should be stuck together on the left and just have this over on the right. So let's do that. Where are we at? Over here. So we will leave it like this, but we're going to wrap both the image and this, the image and this, in another one. So if I do Command-Shift-P, I can now say wrap with abbreviation, and that abbreviation is flex, and then gap of 1. So that sticks that over that way. This is where you kind of have to go all in with utility classes in many ways, because now what I need to do is grab this cart body content description. There's better ways to name stuff like this, but that'll work for now. Come over here, cart body content, and I'm going to grab this and just say align items center. So it'll pull all those back up together, and that should work. Okay, cool. So let's just worry about this, and then I think we're going to call that good, and we just need to worry about functionality at that point. Oops. Okay, so come back over here, and that was called product name. Let's see, it's this section right here. Grid gap of 1. I don't think I need this. So we're just going to remove that, and then product amount. And all I'm worried about is basically how spaced out these are. So I should be able to set that up pretty quickly, I think. Grab that. We'll say gap of like 5 pixels. Spaces those out. Okay, that's good by me. This is a button. Should work. Okay, so the only thing would be this spacing looks a little odd. And that's just whatever I set that at. Grid gap 3, cart body. Cart body. Right here, grid gap of 1 maybe. So it matches everything else. Okay, that should work. All right, so now what we're going to do is basically alternate between this and whatever the final state is. I also feel like these are way too stuck together. I think that is the design, but it's just not super clear from a UX perspective, kind of what that is. So I'd probably space that out a little bit more if it were me. And it is me, so I'm going to space it out more. So let's do that. Let's take the total, and I'm just going to use the ID here and take the total and say margin left of 5 pixels maybe. Space it out even a touch more. I think that'll work. 10 more. Okay. So now we got a total amount right here based off of this. And then we can add it to cart, which I thought this was the cart. So that has to be called something else. Checkout. Okay. Check out. Must be down here. Yeah. Okay. Checkout. Okay. So we got that set. Let's go ahead and do a couple things. First of all, I'm going to add backend disabled here. And then secondly, I want to copy out in kind of order of 2 things here. Oops. Number 1, let's get these all set. I'm going to copy this. This is the initial state. And then secondly, I'm going to copy all of this. We're basically going to use these to set our own, I don't remember which one this is, inside here. So yeah, so I should have 3 divs on the outside. So we're going to use this to basically set our own state in JavaScript, and we'll just have these stored in an object. For now, it's going to start already like this, so that's fine. We can leave that there. And this cart body we're going to change based off of if we've opened it and if there's anything in this value. So let's go ahead and say const checkout state, something like that, and we're going to set it to the default, and that will be equal to, oh, wrong thing, that first. So this is, your cart is empty, so that's the default state. And then we'll say what are we going to call this? Products state or something like that. How about like full or items, or it doesn't really matter. We're going to add that now in here. Okay, so we've got all that. We're going to have to, depending on what we've got here, we'll have to update this. And I think we'll just basically flop these back and forth. And what we'll do is, yeah, I think we can just do that and then basically switch stuff out. There's probably a better way to do this. If I add that all, when I click the buttons here, I think that should work. Okay, so we're going to see. Did I mess up everything over here? I don't think so. Where are literally all my things? Okay, there we go. Check out. Got this. That should be working. This I should be able to get rid of. Maybe I actually grabbed the wrong div. Check out here. That button. Let's just double check. This goes to here. Okay, so I think I grabbed an extra div I didn't need. Okay, there we go. So what I want to do is when I click this, in addition to updating this, I also want to update the cart itself. And then we're going to call that good. Okay, so let's come back to our cart. Let's get rid of the slider. Let's see, do we need the style? I don't think so. All right, so what we're going to do is come into toggling the cart, handling the button click. Okay. That would be amount buttons. Handle amount button click right here. Okay, so then what we're going to do is after this, which, did we ever figure out that disabled thing? Removing it? No, we didn't. Remove attribute disabled. That worked up top. Maybe I just misspelled something. Not sure. Let's change this here. So this was, we set this earlier that basically if it equaled 0, then we wanted to set this whole thing to true. So let's just do a traditional if statement here, and then we'll say else it is equal to removing the attribute. Okay, so that worked. I'm not sure where that turn arrow wasn't working. I probably just messed up the syntax somehow. Maybe. Yep. Now that's 0. Let's go here. Nope, it's still messed up. disabled. If you see what I'm doing, let me know. That should not be that difficult. Okay. Anyhow, let's go ahead and move on. Let's see, at this point, what I need to do is every time I click as well, I'm going to run a function, and this one is going to be called update cart state. And I don't think I need to pass it. I guess I could pass it this, the amount. Yeah, let's do that, because that's going to be a number. That's the number I need to multiply everything by. This is where something like TypeScript helps. That might be what's going on here. Let's change this to double equals and see if that fixes our problem. And that should be nothing. No, that didn't fix our problem. Okay. So I'm going to pass this number to update cart state. And then we'll write a function that says update cart state, takes in a number. And then what we're going to do is we already know every time we click on that, there's two options. It'll either be 0 or some number. If it's 0, then all I want to do is basically put the cart state back to the original, so the default. So I can just say if num is equal to 0, let's just see, make sure that's coming in as a number, 0. Okay, open this up here. When I click this, 0. Okay, cool. Now, if I don't click anything and I click add to cart, that should already show. So yeah, that should work. Okay, so now we know it's coming in as a number. So we can say, let's go ahead and update the text content or the HTML of this cart body with the default, which is this. So we'll say cart body. Let's grab that up top here. Grab both of those, cart body, cart body. I don't know, I prefer stuff like that. So let's do that, cart body. And we will say cart body dot inner HTML is equal to the state, what was the thing called? Checkout state. Checkout state dot default. So now let's go ahead and remove this just to see if it'll put it back in. So now if I open this, it should have nothing in there. If I click and go back to here, of null setting entered HTML. Well, we found a problem. All right, of null setting entered HTML equals checkout state dot default. Okay, let's see what I'm doing wrong here. Back to this cart. Cart body dot inner HTML. Should be right. Let's come back over here. Cart body, was that a class? It was a class. So let's do cart body like that. And now I should be able to open this and it says your cart is empty. Okay, so that's what I want. Let's take this off. All right, so it's already going to be in there by default to start with anyhow. But now anytime I go back to 0, it should also update that just to set it to that. Okay, otherwise, what I want to do is, let's see. So else, basically, I want to say cart body dot inner HTML equals to checkout state dot items. So let's just do that. So I move here, I click this, there we go. Okay, cool. So now what I need to do is basically just update this number and this total. So now that I know that something else is in here and this is actually in the DOM, I should be able to access both of those. So I can say const, what do we call those things? So we've got, oh, it's now in my JavaScript. I forgot up top here. Let's grab both of these things, the amount and the total. Right? I think so. I'm just going to change the text content of both of those. So let's grab them first of all. So we'll say const amount equals document.query selector. And we're looking for the amount. And then let's copy this down. We're also going to look for the total. All right, then what I want to do is say amount.textContent equals, that's just the number that was passed in. So I can do that. And then I can set the total to equal, and for now, because we only have one item, I'm going to set a variable that's like a true constant here to my 125, I think it was. And I'm going to say text content or total.text content equals num times price. All right, so if I move here like this, should be 4, and now it says 4, and that's 500. Cool. Let's go ahead and wrap this like this, and let's see, can I just do it like this? And then it's always going to be .00, so we can just add it like that, and we'll add an extra one there for the actual amount. Uh-oh. It hates me. What'd I do? Right here? There we go. So I come here 4, now it says $500. Okay, cool, and that should update every time. Last thing, let's get rid of this. This is trash. Trash it. So what we're going to do is grab the trash button. So we'll call this trash. Tarsh. Trash. Tarsh twice, really. Trash button. And this was just trash. All right. So if this is clicked, so we'll come down here. I know I'm kind of jumping around quick here, but trying to finish up. I hear my kids up, so it could get wild. And we're going to toggle cart. Nope. We're going to handle trash click. And then up here, we'll do that. So I'll say function handle trash click. And at that point, assuming I've clicked that button, let's see, I probably also need to set pointer events of none on those SVGs, but let's not overcomplicate stuff. If I trash it, the first thing I want to do is say, I guess I just want to set the num to 0, right? So I can just update the cart state and set it to 0. I think that's all I have to do, because then that will clear it all out, which is what I'd want to do anyhow. So let's do that. So I'm going to come in here, and rather than toggle the cart, I'm just going to update the cart state. Did I do that wrong? Oh, it's my trash button. There we go. There's nothing in here anyhow, but if I come in here and add a bunch of stuff, and then I click. Okay, so here it is. Let's trash the thing. Nope, doesn't like me. What did I do wrong? Cannot add event listener of nothing. Trash button. Okay, so it's not on there. I didn't think about that. So here's what we need. We need something that's already on the div or in the DOM itself, and we need to do the event listener against that. So let's see, the cart panel is, so we can do that. So let's just do that. So we'll, because the trash button's not even on there, so that's not going to help me out either. So I got to get rid of that too. Let's space all these back out again. And what we're going to say is down here, we're going to look at the e.target. What did I do wrong? I think that should work. Like that, like that. Okay. If it equals current target, it's going to close it. Else, basically, if e.current, let's see, if e.target equals document.query selector, and what we're looking for is the ID of trash, then I want to run the update cart like that. So now I come in here, add this, come here and I click. Oh no, work with me. Surely that would get rid of it and update the state. Let's do this. Let's say if e.target equals, let's just get rid of that, equals all that, then let's console log. Let's add that back in for now. Just comment it out. Console log, trash that stuff. Okay, so now I can come in here, add this again, click here. Trash that stuff is not happening. You know what? I think what's happening. Okay, that's what I said I needed pointer events have done. So let's switch this back and like this. And I think we're going to be good after this. Okay, I'm going to come in here and let's just, all the SVGs don't need to have any pointer events on them. So I'm going to open back up this style.css, come to the top, where are my utilities, and let's just say SVG pointer events of none. Because what was happening is I was clicking on the pointer events instead of the button, or on the SVG instead of the button. So by removing those, I can't click on them anymore. So now I can come in here and click on this, and my cart is now empty, which is what I want. Should we close the cart automatically? I don't think so. So now I should be able to come back in here and say I want to add 3, delete that, we're good. If I say 0, it should say 0. What is going on over here with this weird spacing? I'm not sure what I did there. So that might be something to look into. We're going to call this good for now. I will probably, let's see, maybe I'll throw this up somewhere and add it in the description if you're interested. If you want that, let me know. Maybe I'll do that. If anybody's really interested in coming through all this, it was more the live practice of coding it and thinking through it, and less like the finished code, because I mean, I would refactor a lot of this quite a bit before I would ever show anybody this. But you know, we've got this thing closing and opening properly and sizing properly. We've got a cart that's empty. We've got this thing that we can kind of go through. We've got this numbered thing we can add, open the cart, delete stuff. So really the only thing we'd have left that we didn't get to in these 3 videos, and we're going to be done for now. I'm not going to come back to this. I figured 3 weeks is enough for anybody. Would basically be to style some of this a little bit differently. Add this, these thumbnails that we could click and show that. We'd have a desktop nav as well, and then some kind of pop-up modal. And this looks very much like the mobile version, obviously, except that you can click out and move around and that kind of stuff. So anyhow, I hope that's been a help to you. You can take this further, add those things in yourself. You know, I don't know, it took us 4 or 5 hours to get the mobile done. Some of that is just having to talk through it live. In some ways, I think that slows me down when I'm doing it live instead of explaining something I've already kind of planned out. But it is pretty realistic to how long some of these things take. And, you know, especially if you're really trying to get them pixel perfect, which I'd say we did mostly that throughout this time. Well, I hope this was a help. And if you have any questions, let me know. Leave them in the description. But I think I'm going to call that quits for now. And like I said, we'll probably wait a little bit till we do any other live streams. But hopefully you enjoyed this, and kind of seeing me think through these processes kind of one after the other is a help to you.